It is 12 noon. It's halftime of three-man front on this very busy football Friday. Thanks for tuning us in. Hopefully you got to hear Wimp Sanderson, Mike Rodak, Buddy Martin, Ty Richardson. We've still got so much to get into, including this NBA scandal with gambling. That has been the big story in sports. Bobby Burack is going to join the program coming up in about 15 minutes from Outkick. We will do Bet It or Forget It at 12:30. Kyle Parmalee. This wraps up for many teams across the state of Alabama tonight. There's still one more week to go in the high school regular season, but most teams wrapping up tonight with region play. So we will talk about all sorts of crazy playoff situations going on in the world of high school football. Buddy Martin, that was on this program at 11:15, he kind of reiterated what his site, GatorBait, reported yesterday, Landrum, is that the University of Florida has on the table right now a 6-year offer of $13.5 million a year for Lane Kiffin to become the next head coach at the University of Florida. And all of that money, which comes to $81 million, would be guaranteed. So now I guess the next move is, if that has been at least communicated to his agent, Jimmy Sexton, what happens now? If Ole Miss loses to Oklahoma, does that become a real story? Or does he want to stay in Oxford? And whether they win or lose tomorrow, it's going to be a non-story as far as Lane Kiffin goes. And you heard Buddy Martin. There was no really big plan to pivot away from Lane Kiffin. Like, they are going all in and pushing all their chips to the center of the table.
It's a dangerous game to play. Give credit to Florida, and I believe with everything that Buddy's reporting, $13.5 million with all of that guaranteed. It's not the most astronomical contract that we've seen in college sports. You go back to Mel Tucker and his deal that he had at Michigan State before they had the falling out and everything that happened. James Franklin at Penn State. This is not unheard of, but coming with that strong offer, and they say, you better sharpen your pencil. You only got one shot at this. It feels like that is the shot. Buddy even alluded to it. If money is ultimately the motivator for Lane Kiffin, then Florida probably gets him because Ole Miss can't meet that number. But what tells you that money is the motivator for Lane Kiffin? If you're making and how much he already has stockpiled, you've got family there, kids are there, the Ole Miss people, they love you. And just from a competitive standpoint, I realize you're in the state of Florida, but yeah, it's going to make some difference, but you cannot tell me that it still has the impact as far as wins and losses that it used to with NIL, and especially the way that Lane gets kids to Oxford, Mississippi through the portal. He would do the same thing in Gainesville. I don't buy, and I never have all season since we've been talking about this, that Florida, being the head coach of Florida, gives you a better opportunity to win a championship, whether it be conference, whether it be national, than what you have there in Oxford. The game has changed. NIL and transfer portal has changed everything. Ask Clark Lee. Ask Vanderbilt fans. Ask fans in Bloomington, Indiana. There's other great examples of that. You can win at a lot of places now. It's not just these 7 places.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And that's why I read a stat this morning that this is the first time in 22 years, and this is across college football. We talked about it earlier this week that in the SEC, the average margin of victory in SEC conference games is 10 points, a little bit less than 10 points. Across all of college football, it's 22 points, which is the lowest it has been in a very, very long time, more than 2 decades. So the competition is there because NIL, the transfer portal, it has leveled the playing field. And you're right, Landrum, you don't have to be in Tuscaloosa or Auburn to have the facilities and to have the money to go out and build a roster. You saw what Indiana gave to Kurt Cignetti. You're seeing potentially what Florida is willing to do. And keep in mind, folks, back in 2007, Mal Moore was chastised by everybody in the country. He would not leave Miami, Florida. He would not take no for an answer with Nick Saban. He ended up paying Nick Saban $4 million, and he was chastised across the world, headlines on the nightly news. Unbelievable. Alabama, one of the poorest states in the country, one of the last states in the country when it comes to education, and you're going to pay a football coach $4 million and be the highest paid coach in all of college sports. that is ridiculous. Got lambasted for it. Turned out pretty well, not only for the University of Alabama, but for the state of Alabama, especially the University of Alabama. If you look around all the big buildings and the wonderful enrollment that Alabama has had over the course of the last 17 to 18 years.
And over the course of that time, you look at what Florida has done as far as their head coaches, whether it was Dan Mullen and getting his team to an SEC championship game. McElwain, he did it twice. Muschamp had an 11-win season before it all went south there. But with Billy Napier and given all of those coaches and what has happened since the time of Urban Meyer, feel like Florida desperately needs a grand slam. They need a walk-off. They need something for that fan base to get excited about. They've seen it in basketball with what Todd Golden has done with that program and getting a natty. The expectation is let's at least be in the conversation. Let's at least be in a college football playoff conversation year in, year out. And they say that Lane Kiffin is probably the shortest distance between 2 points and able to achieve that. The relationship maybe with Layla Kiffin and her father, John Reeves, what he did there, maybe that helps. Maybe it's his familiarity with the state of Florida, having lived there and coached there. But outside of that, I don't think it's an extra couple $1 million that is ultimately going to get Lane Kiffin to leave Oxford, knowing what he's built there. Is he still hungry? I think he still is. Does he still have something to prove? You don't want to get that coach that's on the third contract that's fat and happy and looking to ride out into the sunset, right?
Yep. You
want that coach that's still chasing, and that's what separated Nick Saban from so many, because that was a daily thing for Nick Saban.
So Buddy Morton joined the show at 11:15. Then 11:30, we talked to our good friend Ty Richardson from ESPN Radio in Arkansas, and he just very matter-of-factly was that it's Bobby Petrino's job. Hasn't won a game yet since he's taken over. Now, they have been competitive. They lost 2 3-point games, one to Tennessee and one to Texas A&M. We'll see what happens tomorrow against Auburn, but I am kind of dumbfounded, to be completely honest, that they would want to go down that road again. How he embarrassed the university. And Arkansas didn't win championships under him. Yeah, they were more competitive, but what he did was unbelievable. Put a serious black eye on your program, and why you would give him the keys to the car again, that is just absolutely amazing. But I don't live in Arkansas. I don't pay Arkansas taxes, and they can do what they want.
Yeah, they can. Double digits. Getting serious about football coaches now.
You're going to pay that guy $10 million.
No.
Guess they just completely forgot. Just talking about how Kirby gaslit the referees during the Auburn game. Bobby Petrino is gaslighting everybody in the state of Arkansas. Go back and read exactly what happened. I mean, we were covering it every single day on Feinbaum. Just the stories that were coming out of Arkansas, it was pure sports talk gold every single day. From the person that he was involved with to the background of what was going on with her family. And it was just, the whole thing was just unbelievable. But you're going to give him the keys to one of the mainstays of a 16-team conference that holds itself in high regard.
See, my other thing with Bobby Petrino is I think the offenses, they look pretty good. What happens when Taylor Green leaves? You got another quarterback that can do that? I mean, he has been spectacular. Like, you're benefiting right now from – I mean, who's to say he's going to ever have another quarterback that good?
I would reach out to at least 15 other coaches.
Yes.
15 other coaches and say, we've got double-digit money per year. Say no.
I would hire James Franklin before I'd hire Bobby Petrino.
Amen. Twice on Sunday.
That's a home run hire if you're Arkansas.
Better believe it.
Sure it is. I would hire Jeff Traylor before I would hire Bobby Petrino.
I agree with that, too. You could probably throw any name in front of me.
Billy Napier.
I'd hire Billy Napier in a heartbeat over Bobby Petrino.
Would you hire Ed Orgeron over Bobby Petrino?
No.
Now you're getting silly.
That's when we have,
I wanted to know what the line was, and that's the line.
That's when we have the unusual predicament of co-head coaches. Right?
Heck.
So Coach O is more of your run.
Go hire Tom Herman. Name from the
Yeah.
past.
Ugh.
No Tom Herman. You're no.
I don't know. You'd have to give me a drink and let me think about it.
What is Willie Taggart doing?
We just go into all the failed Texas coaches.
No,
Charlie Strong, what's he doing?
I don't know what his deal is in West Lafayette, and I realize they're 2-5 this season. But call Barry Odom. Who would you rather have,
agree.
Dan Mullen or Bobby Petrino?
Dan Mullen.
See, it's getting tougher now.
I'd still rather have Dan Mullen.
Mm.
At least you can say you haven't been down that road before.
But hey, rain or no rain, you don't think Petrino is going to have every play that he has ever drawn up or looked at or taught or implemented on that play sheet tomorrow? I do. This is Bobby's game. This is the one where he shows Hunter Yurachek and all those Walmart folks why he still got that fastball against an Auburn team that would have a hard time scoring 20 points against Hewitt.
Wouldn't it be wild if it was...
That was good.
Let's be fair, the offense has been dreadful.
It would just be funny to think that this could be the game that secures Bobby Petrino's future and kind of puts the final nail in the coffin for Hugh Freeze.
I just want to predict how does this one end with Bobby P?
Well, it's also
Is
ironic.
it a sticky note on the locker and telling everybody goodbye with a Post-it note? Is it a motorcycle with the volleyball, whatever?
It's funny because it's the whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's the whole everything comes in a circle because you had Bobby Petrino who was stabbing, ultimately Tommy Tuberville in the back trying to get the Auburn head coaching job when he was at Louisville. And then now he potentially is going to get the Arkansas job again because he beat Auburn.
He tried to get the Auburn job
multiple times.
At least twice.
Yes.
He has gone and met, and he's still got friends in Auburn. I don't know in particular who the people are, but he still has relationships with those people, and one of them got him a sit-down or an interview in one of those searches. But obviously it never came to fruition. No, Bobby, remember he had hat in hand. He had the interview, he and his wife.
I mean, to think that Auburn took a university plane to Louisville, Kentucky, when Tommy Tuberville was still the head football coach, and interview and talk to Bobby Petrino about the job is amazing.
Okay, crazy what-if scenario here. Because Ty was talking about, well, maybe you go for a defensive guy. Let's say Auburn decides to make a change, and they ultimately decide, hey, DJ Durkin's done a really great job. Let's give him an opportunity. And then he hires Bobby Petrino to be his offensive coordinator.
I think Bobby would probably see the opportunity because the only reason he took that job is to come back because he knew exactly Sam Pittman.
Oh, they set him up perfect. Yeah.
Was on an endangered species list. I mean, he was going to be shown the door ultimately. So he knew that he could get in there, and this is his best shot. He has looked good the last 2 games. But let's just be honest. It could go the other way. If Auburn shows up tomorrow and, it's like a hot knife to butter, or as like Nick Saban used to say about, through a tin horn, then all of a sudden.
It's a different conversation.
Christmas goose.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden it looks completely different moving forward. Because then you'll have people in Arkansas going, hold on a second, time out. So we just played one of the worst Auburn teams in recent memory because team that has no offense whatsoever, and they just scored 40 on us, and they beat us in a rain-soaked, Reynolds Stadium. Oh, time out. We need to pump the brakes on Bobby Petrino.
Do you think Bobby Petrino would be a good fit at Tulane when that job comes open? I kind of do.
See, my question for him would be, let's say they go and hire somebody else. Would he be willing to stay there as the offensive coordinator, or would he view that as, well, you didn't give me the job, so I don't want to be here? Yeah, he just strikes me as that kind of person where he would feel disrespected.
Oh, no, I can tell you for a fact, he absolutely will feel disrespected.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'll be MFing somebody out the door.
You better believe it. No, there's no doubt about that with Bobby Petrino. He does not give you a bunch of warm and fuzzies.
There's no fuzzy about that guy.
Zero. None. He's a mercenary. And somebody somewhere that is desperate like Arkansas was will take a flyer on him and tell him to come on in and let's try to have a better offense. Keep in mind, that's what Jimbo Fisher did Texas A&M. I mean, that's kind of like his calling card now.
Yeah.
Like if Bobby Petrino shows up on campus, you know for a fact that your head coach is about to be fired.
Well, not to mention just he's so prickly and not fuzzy at all, and the way that he deals with folks. Even Ty said it. Well, he seems like he's showing a little bit more emotion, like that he actually feels bad for the players. But that's it. Bobby Petrino is about as much fun as a neck brace.
Well, he would know. Well, he wasn't really hurt, didn't need the neck brace. That was for effect. Because you know the story. If you go back, he actually had the neck brace on backwards. Somebody just forgot to tell him, hey, got it on backwards there, coach.
It's like the guy at the beach with the potato.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, Bobby Burack's going to join us from Outkick. That's next on 3 Man Front. Welcome back in. It's 3 Man Front on this Friday. The biggest story in all of sports took place yesterday as NBA head coach, NBA player, assistant coach, all being accused by the federal government in just an incredible gambling story. And joining us now to kind of make heads or tails of this is Bobby Burack, joins us from Outkick. Bobby, thanks for joining the show. And my goodness gracious, you've always got your finger on the pulse of what's going on in all sports. But had you heard that this was coming down the pike until that announcement yesterday?
Nah, not the details. We were aware that there was something along the lines of an FBI investigation as it pertains to sports gambling, but I certainly did not expect when I woke up yesterday to see Chauncey Billups arrested. For some background, here in Michigan, he's a bit of a hero. The last major championship we had, he was the key part of it.
Yeah.
So, no, I certainly did not see this coming.
So let me make sure I have this correct, Bobby. So am I correct in my assumption or understanding that these cases with Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups specifically, they're not related? Like, these
Correct.
are separate incidences that are being investigated. It's not, I guess, a part of a larger connected investigation.
Right, and we also have the difference between the alleged poker scheme and also inside information pertaining to prop bets.
All right, so let's talk about Billups first off. In regards to his involvement in these poker games, do I understand this correct, Bobby, that it was a situation that he attended these poker games that were fixed and that they were possibly maybe linked to the mafia? Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah, and by fix, some details is they use technology to, at least according to the reports, rig the games as far as X-ray technology to see other cards, special contact lens, very, I'd say, high-tech stuff that I did not know the mafia was even involved in these days. Somebody who has studied the mafia for a very long time, I did not know that they were involved in this. But, yeah, that is absolutely true, at least as far as what we know right now. And I think for Billups' case, too, as a head coach, I think, this jeopardizes probably his entire career. Now, Brian Windhorst, who is probably as close to the NBA as any reporter, said yesterday that the NBA, because the poker scandal doesn't necessarily involve them, they don't really care, but they're going to pretend they do. Their concern is the prop bets and the future integrity of the game on the court.
So let me ask you, I guess this is going back a couple of years now, but I'm sure you remember the Jonte Porter situation with the Raptors. So my question would be, is there any belief that maybe that situation is similar to the Terry Rozier situation in terms of maybe the money that's being exchanged being from similar parties, or as far as you can tell, are those completely separate incidents? Because it's just, again, it's bizarre that you have two, what at least seems on paper to be very similar situations with those two players just a couple of years apart.
Right. Well, my read on this is, and I think this is what makes it so damning, is that it seems like there are a lot of independent examples of this, and that raises the question, well, how many more to come down? Because I don't think any of them are related. At least as far as what we know right now, they're all separate from each other, and that becomes a culture issue. And you would suspect that we have not heard the end of this scandal yet and other people's involvement. I think for the NBA right now, you have to be terrified to see what is going to become public here.
Bobby Burack joins us on the program from Outkick as we're talking about this just incredible, wild story in regards to the NBA and the gambling allegations and indictments that came down by the FBI yesterday. Okay, so I want to bring up another angle to this, and that is Damon Jones. And apparently the accusation is that he provided insider information possibly to those that would bet in regards to LeBron James' health. That's a pretty significant accusation there. And based on that information, that could help bettors out incredibly.
Right. And excuse me, this is the one that I have the most interest in. I don't know how frequently you guys use the sports betting apps, but
yeah,
they always seem to know something before the public. You go back a couple weeks ago, it was 50-50 whether Lamar Jackson was going to play. Well, all of a sudden there was a 6-point swing in the spread. Well, obviously, FanDuel and DraftKings knew he wasn't going to play before the rest of us. So people know that information. And then you have to ask, well, who betting on the games also knows that information before the public? And I think you go down a pretty deep rabbit hole. I've always believed that part of the industry is rigged and probably needs some sort of regulation. Because I don't know how all the money being spent on these gambling apps, the American public can bet with the obvious realization that the people setting the lines and other possible bettors know information they don't. Mike Florio, somebody with whom I don't really agree often, made the point that this could jeopardize the future of prop bets and player bets altogether. I wouldn't go that far because there's so much money to be made in it, but I think this has always been a bit of a rigged carnival. It's just a matter of who's actually benefiting from it.
All right, Bobby, I want to turn the tables onto the NBA a little bit, and because I think a question I've seen people ask is, okay, this is an investigation that's been going on for some time, and would be specifically, I guess, with the Rozier situation more than the others right now. If they've known this is going on, why was he permitted to continue playing? I know he's injured right now, but based on what we understand, this has been going on for years, and he's continued to play. So why would they not have stepped in and intervened until now?
Well, and go back to the 90s. I don't know how many conspiracy theories you believe in, but I think a lot of people believe in the one that Michael Jordan was quietly suspended for gambling. I don't know if that's true, but it's a great question, and that's why I think the NBA has to be panicking right now. What did they know? When did they know it? And how did they react? I'm sure they would say that they didn't have enough information or didn't know the significance of it. But I'm with you. If they were even tipped off that this was happening, how do you allow this guy continue to even just participate in the locker room, understanding the information he'd be privy to?
All right, Bobby, in our remaining minute, I just wanted to ask you about the future of the companies like DraftKings, because I read an article this morning that last year NBA, they took $50 million in sports betting companies' monies for advertising last year.
Yeah.
Does that jeopardize that wing of their advertising business and marketing for the NBA? Because obviously now this is a huge black eye potentially because of the gambling allegations by the FBI.
I don't think so. I think it comes down to simply the NBA, DraftKings, FanDuel. They would rather have a bad reputation and keep making a lot of money than have a good reputation and risk losing money. I think financially there's just too much at stake here, and I don't see a lot changing as far as these sponsorship deals.
That is Bobby Burack. You can follow his excellent work there at Outkick. Bobby, I hope you'll come back. Appreciate your time today.
Of course.
Thank you, Bobby.
Guys.
Appreciate it very much. Bobby Burack joins the program from Outkick. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Better to forget it. We do it next.
It's time for Landrum, Molly, and Conrad to make you some money this weekend. Last week, collectively, as a group, they went 7-8. So maybe this week, they'll be a little bit better. So far in the standings of Bet It or Forget It, Landrum is 27-18. Conrad is 24-21. And last year's champion is in last place.
That's okay.
She's in the cellar.
I like being the underdog.
She is 23-22 on this. Why are you laughing? Why is that funny?
I don't know.
I was the underdog until the playoff last year.
Why are you going to allow that?
He'll regret that one day.
Will I?
We're gonna hope.
Like this season?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Okay. All right, let's get to it. This is the segment we call Bet It or Forget It.
The following is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
Three-man fronts. Bet it or forget it.
All right, so let's go to the Music City for the Vanderbilt Commodores, a 2.5-point favorite against the Missouri Tigers. Mizzou, they have won each of their last 5 meetings. Missouri's last 3 games have all stayed under the point total. And by the way, the point total is 52.5 this week. The Doors are 6-1 straight up. They are 5-2 against the spread. But keep this in mind. This is the first time since 1947 that Vanderbilt has played a game as a top 10 team. Meanwhile, Missouri is 8-81 versus top 10 opponents, and they're 1-18 as a member of the Southeastern Conference against a top 10 team. So let's start with Landrum, who is leading the brigade. Mizzou plus 2.5 against Vandy. Point total 52.5.
Yeah, all those trends in the stats that you gave out, Pat. You keep going through them, and besides Vandy historically being Vanderbilt, they all favor the Commodores. I love Diego Pavia, just in general, but I love him in this spot. I think vulnerabilities were shown by Missouri offensively and defensively. This is a game that Clark Lee loves. Chamber of Commerce Day in Nashville. Give me Vanderbilt all day long.
All right, how about you, Conrad?
Just a terrible pick by Landrum. So for this game, Vanderbilt and Missouri, I love Vanderbilt as well. I think they're a much better team than Missouri. Look, Missouri's good, but I think we've seen them be more human the last couple of weeks, right? Ahmad Hardy's not running for 150 yards every game. Bo Pribula's certainly got some shortcomings in the passing game, and I think Diego Pavia, they feel the playoff hype now. So yeah, I think Vanderbilt, I think they easily win by at least a touchdown.
How about you, Molly? You going to bet it or forget it?
Wow. I like Vandy too, and I'm going to bet it, but I'm not going to take Vandy as my pick. I'm actually going to take the over. And despite everything you said, both of these, Vanderbilt, they're a top scoring team in the country, and Missouri isn't far behind them. I do think we are going to see some more offense in this game. Maybe not quite a shootout, but with the total being 52.5, I'm comfortable with taking the over.
Game number 2, Texas A&M. They're in the Bayou, Death Valley, taking on the LSU Bengal Tigers. The Aggies are a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 47.5. The Aggies' last win in Baton Rouge was back in 1994. LSU has lost only one game under Brian Kelly at night inside Tiger Stadium. We remember that. That was against Alabama. The home team has won and covered each of the last 4 meetings, with all 4 of those games going over the total. So let's start with you, Conrad.
And in addition to that, the home team has won the last 8 meetings straight up in this matchup between LSU and Texas A&M, which is exactly why they've been riding high all season long. LSU's got their back against the wall. Their playoff hopes and dreams are still faintly alive. I think LSU gets it done. I think they pulled the upset over Texas A&M at home, so give me LSU in the points.
Molly.
I know this isn't technically a bold prediction because A&M is the favored team, but we are talking about LSU. It's a night game in Tiger Stadium, but I actually like the Aggies in this one. They have a lot of hype going into this game, especially when you look at the SEC standings. I think they're going to go in just guns a-blazing. And I think they're going to go into Tiger Stadium, be one of those outlier games, and they're going to get a win.
You got props over there?
Yeah,
now?
I had a prop.
Oh,
Sorry.
did you? Okay.
This is oldie but a good one. I don't know if it's still politically correct or incorrect to do it, but
This is Landrum's pick, by the way.
LSU. Love them at home.
Easy enough. Ole Miss is in Norman, Oklahoma, taking on the Sooners. Lane Kiffin is a 5.5-point underdog. Oklahoma, the point total is 54.5. Ole Miss has won the only 2 prior meetings between these two teams. All 7 of Oklahoma's games this season have stayed under the total. Oklahoma has allowed an average of only 9.4 points per game this season. So let's start with you, Molly. Rebels, Sooners, are you going to pass?
Well, I'm never going to pass, Pat. Lane Kiffin is distracted. There's a lot going on in the coaching world right now. However, at the same time, we all know he loves Oxford, he loves his daughter, and he loves the Rebs. I'm taking Ole Miss to cover in this one. I think this is a really good spot for Ole Miss, and I think Lane Kiffin, even though there's a lot going on, I'm sure he's having a lot of thoughts, I think he's going to want to go in and prove to everybody Ole Miss is the place for me, and I'm going to show it. Hotty toddy.
Landrum.
Pat, the first stat that you gave out was great. All of OU's games have gone under the number. That continues under the 54.5.
Conrad.
Yeah, the under was tempting in this one because I do think, Ole Miss's defense will be better than they were last week, and we know how good Oklahoma is. But I like Ole Miss in this spot. I think my big question mark going into this would have been about Trinidad Chambliss, but I thought he played very well on the road against Georgia last week. So if he can do that same thing against Oklahoma, I think they'll have a better opportunity. I'm still not 100% convinced that John Mateer is back to the John Mateer he was at the beginning of the season. And Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss are going to cover the points, but they're also going to win straight up, and then he's going to go $15 million a year, or I say no. So this is a big opportunity for Lane. I like the Rebels to win outright.
By the way, 91% chance of rain.
In Norman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There you go. Game number 4. The Alabama Crimson Tide there at South Carolina. The point total is 47.5. For this purpose of this exercise, we're going with 11.5 as the favorite for the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Tide, they are 6-0 straight up, 5-0-1 against the spread since that Week 1 loss against Florida State. The Tide's last 4 games have all stayed under the point total. South Carolina has lost 4 of its last 5 games, as the Gamecocks have only averaged 15.8 points per game in conference action. So let's start with Conrad.
Yeah, I think this is a really good spot for Alabama. This was a game that, while it does have trap game qualities, I think that this team has already had that moment of, if we don't bring our A game, we've seen what can happen. So I think they're going to be fired up tomorrow. And Williams-Brice, I like Alabama. I think they're going to win pretty big. And I'm not saying that Ty Simpson's going to do this, but quickly, let me take you back to the last time that these two teams played in Columbia, South Carolina. Because that would have been September of 2019, and all a little quarterback by the name of Tua Tagovailoa did that day was throw for 444 yards and 5 tutties. Alabama big 35-17 over the Gamecocks.
Molly.
I'm with Conrad. I like Alabama to cover in this one, but I think it's going to be more of a backdoor cover because for some reason, Shane Beamer just shines when he's in a spot like this. A couple years ago, we saw them beat a top-ranked Tennessee. They did the same thing against a Clemson. He's really good against ranked teams. And I do think while Alabama has had that uh-oh moment against Florida State, and I don't think they're going to have it again, it might be a little bit of a tricky spot because you just did beat 4 top-ranked teams in a row, all back-to-back weeks without a bye. I do still like Alabama to cover, but I'm thinking more of like a fourth quarter cover.
Okay, you like Alabama. Landrum, you going to bet it or forget it?
Oh, Alabama's done me so right, especially here in the last few weeks. I'm going to keep rolling with the Tide. They get it done. Take Alabama minus the points.
All right, final game of the week. Let's go to Arkansas, where the Auburn Tigers, they're a 1.5-point underdog. The point total is 55.5. The road team has won and covered each of the last 4 meetings. Arkansas has lost 5 straight games, with 4 of those losses coming by 6 points or fewer. The home team in this series is 1-5 straight up, 0-6 against the spread, and the over has hit in 9 of the last 11 contests between these two teams. So let's start with Landrum. Gonna bet it or forget it?
I'm going to bet it. The only thing that concerns me is if you'll go back just a couple of years to Hugh Freeze's first season on the Plains, I think that was the most points that Auburn has put up against an SEC opponent, maybe top 10 as far as most points that they've scored against anybody in the Hugh Freeze era. That 48-10 win that day in Fayetteville, that was something. We will not see that tomorrow. Give me Arkansas minus the points at home on a sloppy Tacoma turf field.
Molly.
In the words of the great Brett Norsworthy, this is going to be a mud fest. I think that the under is going to hit here. And for me, it just makes sense because Auburn's offense has really struggled to find any sort of consistency, but their defense has been keeping them in these games. And I don't know. I feel like just with the weather in mind and the way that Auburn's been playing, I'm taking the under. What was it, 56?
55 and a half.
55, yeah, still under.
Why are you guys laughing? Why are y'all laughing?
No, we were just.
They're making fun of me.
They were.
No, we were not making fun of you.
No, I don't believe
We were
that.
just saying we don't like the under.
Oh.
We were going no on under. It was /no.
Well, I like the under, so I don't care what you guys think.
Okay. Well, we're being quiet.
It's my
we weren't
pick.
trying to.
It's my pick. It's not your pick.
We weren't trying to put it in your face.
It's her
Pat's the
pick.
one who pointed it out. Pat, you kicking the anthill again?
That's her pick.
It's my pick.
It is.
I don't make fun
Conrad?
of you for your picks.
You should.
You shouldn't. I'm in first. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness.
There it is.
Oh,
there it is.
my.
There it is. There it is.
Oh.
Sleeping giant. I'm awake. Let's go.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm just kidding. Wow. Come on.
Yeah, Arkansas is going to win this game. Minus the points. The
That's
under's
it?
tempting because of the weather.
It is
I
tempting,
don't-
Molly.
No, I'm not.
Pat, you want me
listening
to come on here and
anymore.
say the same thing I said the last 3 weeks until I see something that proves me otherwise? Why should I believe that Auburn is magically going to roll out some form of offense that's not pathetic in a mud bath or whatever Brett Norsworthy said? So, yeah, Arkansas minus the points.
Did you call Auburn's offense pathetic?
It is pathetic.
If we're on Sirius XM, I would have some adjectives.
Which
to
is
go
more
along with it.
pathetic, Auburn's offense or Arkansas's defense?
Ooh, that's a good question. I actually might have to go with Arkansas's defense. They're both really bad, though.
All right, we will see tomorrow.
Well, unless the three different quarterback experiment works for the first time in college football history.
What if you do a different quarterback on every down with a different person calling plays for every quarterback?
That would be
See?
beautiful.
That's what I'm thinking.
That'd be perfect.
Like, you know what? Scrap it all. Singleton.
Are you okay, Molly? Molly, you okay?
Put Singleton at Wildcat. Let him take every snap.
Now, see, you guys have awoken a sleeping giant. She's ready for y'all.
No, we'll find out tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, that's Bet It or Forget It. More three-man front on this Friday. This is Jocks. So last night in college football, man, what a crazy first quarter if you tuned in to South Alabama versus Georgia State. 35 points were scored in the first quarter. 35. South Alabama, they get only their second win of the year. They're first in the Sun Belt. They win 38-31 on the road in Atlanta against Georgia State. So congratulations to the Jags as they get the big win. Now tonight you've got North Texas and Charlotte, Cal and Virginia Tech, Boise State and Nevada. That's your late night game at 9 o'clock.
Well, as football season moves on, you know that means changes in the weather are coming, and you need to protect your HVAC system with a checkup from a trained comfort specialist so that when the cold weather hits, you'll have peace of mind that you're protected by America's most reliable and trusted brand. So go and find a comfort specialist near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Also last night in the NFL, the Chargers over the Vikings 37-10. Justin Herbert threw for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Chargers scored 30 points or more for the first time this season, and former Bama punter J.K. Scott didn't punt one time. Not once.
Good night, J.K. Hey, that is a good night. You'll take that every day if you're the Chargers.
I mean, he is the holder, so he did actually broke a sweat. He went out there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, actually did some. Carson Wentz, man, if you watch that game, he got beat up bad.
He was mad on the sidelines.
Like real bad. Matter of fact, when you hear Kirk Herbstreit kind of taking him to task about his emotions on the field, you know it had to be pretty bad. But he only threw for 144 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times last night. So it was a very rough night. 82% of the betting public, Landrum, they bet on the over last night.
I imagine they did.
Well,
what was that, 47.5?
It was 44 points with 2 minutes left to go in the game. The Chargers were just basically running out the clock. They came out after the 2-minute timeout, and Harbaugh kicked the field goal. They made the field goal, and the over hit. I mean, literally, he could have just ran the ball. I mean, but he brought the kicker out. Made the field goal. And so 82% of the public bets last night was on the over, and it hit. Under 2 minutes left to go in the game.
Are we buying that Jim Harbaugh knew that? But you also have to think it's the quirkiness of Jim Harbaugh, and I can see him kicking a field goal and not knowing what the total was.
Yeah, but see, it would just be fascinating. Like, you know, do you have somebody on the staff that just kind of gives you a nudge and says, hey, just letting you know, like, this has been, you'd make a lot of people happy if you kicked a field goal here, Coach. I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, when 80-year-old Al Michaels is talking about it, I mean, he was great. I mean, he is so good. He was sitting there.
Still haven't ever eaten a vegetable.
He goes, well, just because it's 34-10, the game isn't over. And Herbstreit just kind of sat there.
Yeah.
And he goes, Al Michaels says, well, the half point will get you sometimes. And then Herbstreit started laughing. And Al Michaels was like, I'm just telling you, it's not over yet. And then they come out and they kick the field goal. And then Al Michaels goes, it is now over. It is 37-10.
See, it's great.
It is now over.
It's great how open that stuff is now.
Al Michaels, he took a shot at the NFL last night. Again, he's 80 years old.
Yeah, Al's on the, I don't really give a rip tour.
Yeah, it's like, kick me out of here.
They're paying him what? Isn't it like $12 million a year to do those Thursday night games or something absurd?
So Reichert had missed a field goal earlier in the game.
He did. It was short.
And Reichert had said earlier when he missed one over in Europe, he claims it hit the wire of the camera.
Yeah.
That's what he claimed.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And so Al Michaels took a shot at the NFL about that.
Because that's the only one that he's missed, and then the NFL was, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand why they are embarrassed by it. I mean, okay, it's unfortunate, but...
You think Will Reichert's just going to come out and
make an excuse?
Make an excuse? No.
I just don't understand why they won't put their hand up and say, yeah, that was an equipment
I'm going to take the word of the guy who's kicked a 61-yard field goal.
Yeah.
He was short on that one last night.
He was short.
So, hey, listen, I enjoyed the broadcast. I mean, it's
the game wasn't, but the broadcast was pretty good.
Does Herbstreit's dog, does he travel with him?
Yes.
For that one too?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's his travel companion.
Old Peter.
Mm-hmm. Also tonight, I know many of us will be at our local high schools covering games. But the World Series starts tonight.
Oh, man.
Dodgers or Canada?
Well, that's the thing. It's so tough for me.
I got to pull for Canada.
You would.
Well, but then I can say that my team lost to the best team, and that makes me feel better at night. So.
I can't pull for Canada.
I don't want to, but
Not after all the cheap shots that they took on the tariffs. Not doing it.
I mean, the Dodgers are going to win the World Series.
And then all the time I invested in U.S. versus Canada in hockey, and that night that I was absolutely bought in, I'm not pulling for them. No.
Blake Snell is on the bump for the Dodgers. He has a 2.34 ERA. He's going up against the sensation for Toronto, Trey Yasavage. Yasavage is a 3.21 ERA, and he's only had 6 professional starts.
Yeah, he's using steroids.
But if the Blue Jays do win it all, I think I'll get over it. So maybe I can't pull for the Dodgers. I just can't do it. Can you?
I will pull for the Dodgers.
That doesn't have to think twice about it.
There's no gray area for me. First off, the Dodgers are a National League team. I'm a National League guy. As long as it's not the Cubs, I'm going to pull for the National League, period. Not to mention the fact that we're basically going up against Russia.
I know.
So that makes it a lot easier.
Dilemma. That's my dilemma.
See, it's really easier if you think about it. We have got 1 more hour to go, I've been told. We're doing 4 hours today, right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if that was option on Football Fridays.
We just opt out. Opt out
Transfer
for the 4th
portal.
hour.
I don't know. Let's talk some high school football. Kyle Parmalee, Starnes Media, joins us next.